Hey, warrior. Yes, I'm talking to you. How do you start your day? Do you wake up and reach for your phone, lost in endless scrolling before your mind even clears? Do you let notifications, emails, and other people's drama flood your brain before your feet have even touched the floor? If that sounds familiar, listen closely, because you're giving away your power before the day even begins. Most people wake up and instantly hand over the reins of their mind to the outside world. They roll over, grab their phone, and within seconds they're absorbing chaos. Someone's angry post, breaking news they can't control, emails demanding their attention, comparisons to lives that aren't real. By the time they finally get out of bed, they're already reactive, already anxious, already behind. They haven't even started their day, and they've already lost it. Now compare that to the 1% of people who begin their mornings with complete intention. No scrolling, no rushing, no reacting. Just silence, presence, and inner clarity. They don't wake up into chaos. They wake up into command. They own the morning, and because they own the morning, they own the day. Marcus Aurelius once said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." But why do so few people live like this? Why do most wake up feeling drained before the day has even begun? Because most have forgotten that the morning is your kingdom. It is your sacred space, a place where you either rule or surrender. Those who surrender it to noise, emotion, and chaos spend their day chasing instead of leading. They're always reacting, always catching up, always one step behind. But those who command their morning, they lead their emotions, they lead their choices, they lead their energy, and eventually they lead their entire life. This video is your call to become that 1%, not because you're better than anyone else, but because you're no longer willing to be less than your potential. The ancient Stoics didn't just survive their days, they prepared for them. They didn't wait for motivation. They created motion. They didn't ask, "What will today give me?" They asked, "What can I give to today?" In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 Stoic morning secrets that very few people apply. But the ones who do, they gain total control over their lives. These aren't typical morning routine tips. No fluff, no hacks. These are mental, emotional, and spiritual principles rooted in Stoicism, designed to make your morning sacred, your actions intentional, and your life unstoppable. Stay with me. Each point builds on the next. Each one will wake you up in a different way. And by the end, you'll understand why your morning isn't just a time of day. It's the foundation of your freedom. Drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I control my morning. I control my life. Hit that like button, leave a comment, share this with someone who needs it. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's begin. Number 1, wake up with discipline, not motivation. Most people wait for motivation to strike before they take action in the morning. They think, if I feel like it, I'll get up early. If I'm in the mood, I'll work out, meditate, or plan my day. But here's the problem with that approach. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. Some mornings you'll wake up feeling unstoppable. Other mornings you'll feel like hiding under the covers until the world goes away. If your actions depend on how you feel, you'll never be consistent. You'll be a slave to your moods, rising and falling with whatever emotion happens to greet you at dawn. The Stoic doesn't wait. The Stoic moves regardless of feelings. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and keep warm?" This quote might sound simple, but it holds a deep truth. The purpose of life is not to sleep through it. It's to engage with it fully, to show up, to contribute, to become. Every single morning is an opportunity to fulfill that purpose, but only if you have the discipline to rise and meet it. The first secret of the 1% is simple. They wake up by discipline, not mood. They don't argue with themselves. They don't negotiate with the alarm clock. They don't have an internal debate about whether they'll get up or hit snooze. They just get up. No drama, no excuses, no negotiation. And here's why this matters more than you might realize. The first decision you make each morning is a vote for who you are becoming. Every time you hit snooze, you're casting a vote for the weaker version of yourself. You're telling your subconscious, I'm the kind of person who gives into comfort. I'm the kind of person who listens to the voice that wants to stay small. With each snooze, you're reinforcing an identity of weakness and complacency. But every time you rise on time, without hesitation, you're casting a vote for the stronger version of yourself. You're saying, I'm the kind of person who keeps my word to myself. I'm the kind of person who does what needs to be done, regardless of how I feel. You're building evidence that you can be trusted to follow through. You're not just waking up, you're practicing identity. That's what Stoicism is really about. Identity-based living. It's not about feeling like a disciplined person. It's about acting like one, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. It's about becoming so consistent in your actions that your identity naturally shifts to match them. This builds what I call inner gravity. Over time, your mind becomes stronger than your mood. Your body learns to obey your will. Your energy learns to follow your intention. Even on days when you're tired, anxious, or unmotivated, you rise. Not because you feel like it, because you said you would. Because that's who you've decided to be. And when you consistently keep your word to yourself, something powerful happens. You start to trust yourself. And once you trust yourself, your power multiplies. Think about it. If you can't trust yourself to do something as simple as get out of bed when you said you would, how can you trust yourself to handle the big challenges? How can you trust yourself to have that difficult conversation, to stay disciplined with your health, to build that business, to transform your life? Trust is built in small moments, and it starts with that first decision of the day. The 1% understand this deeply. They know that the battle for the day is won or lost in the first 5 minutes after waking. They don't leave that battle to chance. They've already decided. The alarm goes off, and they're up. No debate, no deliberation, just action. So how do you start practicing this? First, set a consistent wake-up time and protect it like your life depends on it. Not just on weekdays, not just when you feel like it. Every single day, your nervous system craves consistency. When you wake up at the same time daily, your body learns to prepare for that moment. It becomes automatic. The resistance weakens over time because your body knows what's coming. Second, eliminate the snooze button completely. Not just reducing it, eliminate it. The snooze button is training wheels for the undisciplined mind. Every time you hit it, you're teaching your brain that your word doesn't matter. That comfort is more important than commitment. You're fragmenting your sleep and your willpower. Put your alarm across the room if you have to. Make it so that getting up is easier than staying in bed. Third, when you wake up, stand up immediately. Don't lie there thinking about it. Don't give your mind time to negotiate. As soon as your eyes open, swing your legs over the side of the bed and stand up. This sends a signal to your entire nervous system. We move now, we're not negotiating today. It's a physical act that cuts through mental resistance. Fourth, say something powerful to yourself out loud. It could be simple. Let's go. The day is mine. I'm ready. Your brain listens to what you tell it. When you speak with conviction first thing in the morning, you're programming your mind for strength. You're setting the tone for everything that follows. Here's the truth most people never face. If you can defeat the soft voice in your head at 5 a.m., you can defeat it anywhere. If you can overcome that urge to stay comfortable when no one is watching, you build a kind of mental armor that stays with you all day. You walk into the world having already won your first battle, and most people haven't even opened their eyes yet. Your mornings don't need to be fancy. They don't need to be complicated. They just need to be consistent. They just need to be yours. Remember, you don't rise because you feel like it. You rise because it's who you are. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Discipline is my alarm clock. Number 2, win the first hour in silence. When you wake up, who's in control? Is it you or is it your phone? Your notifications? Someone else's drama? Most people roll over, open their screen, and instantly let the world into their most vulnerable moment. Before their feet even touch the floor, Their mind is hijacked. They're scrolling through social media, reading emails, checking news, absorbing opinions from strangers. They're comparing their morning to someone else's highlight reel. They're loading their brain with problems they can't solve and information they don't need. And just like that, they've lost the day. They haven't even started, and they're already reacting. Their mind is no longer their own. It's been colonized by the noise of the world. But the people who move through life differently, the ones who seem unshakable no matter what happens, they do the opposite. They start their day in silence. No music, no messages, no notifications, no distractions. Just quiet. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." In other words, don't worry if silence feels weird at first. Don't worry if it makes you feel like you're falling behind while the world is moving. Don't worry if people think you're odd for not being instantly available. Because that silence, that's where your power lives. That's where clarity is born. Here's something most people don't understand about the brain. Your mind is most vulnerable and most moldable in the first few minutes after waking. It's like soft clay. Whatever you feed it during this time will shape how you think, feel, and respond for the rest of the day. The neural pathways that are activated first thing in the morning become the default pathways for the hours that follow. If the first thing you consume is noise, chaos, and comparison, guess what? You'll carry that energy with you everywhere. You'll be reactive instead of responsive, scattered instead of focused, anxious instead of calm. Your brain will be primed to look for threats, to compare, to judge, to worry. But if you give yourself even 10 minutes of calm, something different happens. You give your brain a chance to breathe, to reset, to come online gradually instead of being jolted awake by external demands. You allow your own thoughts to surface before the world's thoughts invade. So what do the most grounded people do with this silent time? They sit up in bed. They close their eyes. They feel their breath moving in and out. They notice their thoughts without chasing them. They simply observe. They become aware of their own inner landscape. They ask themselves simple but powerful questions like, what energy do I want to carry into today? What would the best version of me do this morning? What matters most today? How do I want to feel at the end of this day? This is what the Stoics called prohairesis, your inner freedom, the ability to choose your response no matter what the world throws at you. It's the space between stimulus and response, and in that space lies your power. When you start the day in silence, you're training that muscle. You're reminding yourself that you have a choice. You don't have to react to everything. You don't have to be pulled in every direction. You can decide. You can select what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Try this tomorrow morning. Before you grab your phone, before you check anything, just sit still for 5 minutes. Not doing anything, not achieving anything. Just being there with yourself. Just breathing. Just existing. You'll be surprised at what happens over time. You become less reactive. Someone says something irritating, and instead of snapping, you pause. You feel the reaction arise, but you don't act on it. You respond with intention instead of reacting with emotion. You become more creative. Solutions to problems you've been wrestling with start appearing. Ideas flow more easily. The silence creates space for insight. You become steadier. Even when life gets chaotic later, you move through it like a calm storm. Because your morning wasn't stolen from you. You owned it. You started from a place of centeredness, and that centeredness carries forward. Silence isn't emptiness. It's space. Space for answers. Space for clarity. Space for strength. It's the canvas upon which you can paint your day with intention instead of having it painted for you by external forces. The truth is, clarity never comes from noise. It always comes from within. But you have to be quiet enough to hear it. You have to create the conditions for your own wisdom to surface. Most people spend their whole lives searching for answers outside themselves. They read books, attend seminars, follow gurus, consume endless content, and they wonder why they still feel lost. They wonder why the answers don't stick. The answers were never outside. They were always inside, waiting for the silence to arrive, waiting for the noise to settle so they could be heard. So protect your first hour, guard it like a fortress. Don't let anyone or anything in until you had time to connect with yourself. Your phone can wait. The news can wait. Other people's problems can wait. But you cannot wait. You are the foundation of everything. If you're scattered, everything scatters. If you're centered, everything centers. This is non-negotiable. This is how the 1% operate. Drop this affirmation in the comments if you're serious about protecting your peace. Silence gives me control. Number 3, face the day before it starts. Let's be honest about something. Life rarely goes as planned. You can have your schedule perfectly organized, your mindset exactly where it needs to be, your intentions absolutely clear. And then boom, something throws it all off. Someone says something stupid. Plans fall apart at the last minute. Traffic is worse than you imagine. An email arrives that ruins your mood before 9 a.m. A colleague undermines you. A client cancels. The universe throws a curveball. And here's the truth. Most people let those moments ruin them. They let unexpected challenges hijack their entire day. They become reactive, angry, frustrated, defeated. Their peace is shattered because reality didn't conform to their expectations. All because life didn't go according to their script. But the Stoic, they expect it. Not because they're negative or pessimistic, because they're prepared, because they understand that life is inherently unpredictable and that resistance to this fact is the source of most suffering. There's an ancient Stoic practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds dark, but it's not about being gloomy or expecting the worst. It's about mentally rehearsing challenges before they happen so that when they do arrive, you're ready. It's about building emotional immunity. Seneca said, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." Think about that profound statement. If you expect difficulty, it won't knock you off your feet when it shows up. You'll handle it like someone who's already lived through it once. You'll respond with wisdom instead of reacting with panic. The shock is absorbed because you've already processed it in your mind. The most grounded people in the world don't just go through their day blindly. They preview it. They take a few minutes each morning to imagine what could go wrong. Not in an anxious, spiraling way, in a calm, clear, strategic way. They think, maybe someone will interrupt me today when I'm trying to focus. Maybe I'll feel impatient waiting in line. Maybe someone will misunderstand my intentions. Maybe I'll feel tired or insecure in that meeting. Maybe I'll be triggered by something someone says. Maybe I'll face rejection or criticism. And then they ask themselves, how will I respond when that happens? What would the best version of me do in that moment? How can I stay aligned with my values when things don't go my way? What virtue can I practice in that situation? Patience, courage, kindness, humility. This is like building emotional muscle before the workout begins. You're strengthening your response system in advance. You're programming your mind to default to wisdom instead of reactivity. Here's a simple practice you can try starting tomorrow. Right after your silent morning time, take 2 minutes to mentally walk through your day. Not with anxiety, with curiosity, with preparation. Ask yourself, what might challenge me today? What emotion might rise up that I need to keep in check? Where might I be tempted to react instead of respond? What situation might test my patience or my principles? You can write it down or just run through it mentally. Either way, it's powerful. Because now, when life does what life always does, when it throws curveballs, when people disappoint you, when plans fall apart, when things don't go your way, you don't freeze. You don't break. You don't spiral into frustration. You've already rehearsed this. You're not reacting. You're responding with wisdom, with intention, with control. You've already decided how you'll show up, so you're not at the mercy of the moment. This is what Stoicism teaches at its core. It's not about controlling life. That's impossible. Life will always be unpredictable. Life will always throw things at you that you didn't see coming. The universe doesn't consult you before sending challenges your way. What Stoicism teaches is controlling yourself within life. Your responses, your judgments, your choices. That's where real power lives. That's the only domain where you have absolute sovereignty. And when you practice this mindset every morning, something shifts. You develop a calm that feels almost unfair to everyone else. You walk into that meeting centered while others are frazzled. You deal with that delay without rage while others are fuming. You hear that criticism without crumbling while others are devastated. You stay cool under pressure while others lose their composure. That's your power. Not perfection, not fake positivity, not pretending everything is fine when it's not. Preparedness. Because you face the day before it started. This is the edge. This is what separates the 1% from everyone else. Drop this affirmation in the comments if you're done letting life catch you off guard. I prepare. I do not panic. 4. Anchor yourself with a Stoic morning reminder. Every great leader, warrior, and philosopher throughout history has had something they return to every morning. A core principle, a grounding truth, a reminder of who they are and what they stand for. The average person wakes up and immediately forgets who they want to be. They get swept away by the current of the day. They react to whatever comes their way. They live on autopilot, driven by habit instead of intention. They become whatever the world demands of them in any given moment. But the Stoic wakes up and remembers. They consciously call to mind their values, their principles, their identity before the world has a chance to impose its own. Marcus Aurelius wrote daily in his meditations, not to impress anyone, not for publication. These were his private journals, his personal reminders to himself about how to live with strength, wisdom, and integrity. They were his anchors in a sea of chaos. One of his most famous entries reads, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He didn't just read this once and move on. He returned to it again and again. He anchored himself in this truth every single day. He needed to hear it repeatedly because the world constantly tries to make us forget. This is what I call a morning anchor, a truth you repeat to yourself every morning before the world tries to distract you, before the noise floods in, before you forget who you are. It's a touchstone you return to when everything else is uncertain. Here's why this matters more than you might realize. Every morning, your identity is fragile. You haven't proven anything yet today. You haven't shown up for anyone. You haven't made any decisions. You're a blank slate. And in that vulnerable moment, before the emails, opinions, and pressures start hitting you, you must tell yourself who you are, or the world will decide for you. This is how the people who move through life with clarity and control operate. They don't leave their identity to chance. They don't hope they'll remember what matters. They create or choose a Stoic mantra, and they repeat it each morning. Not as mindless affirmation, as a foundational truth that shapes everything else. Some powerful examples you can use. I do not control what happens to me, only how I respond. Today is a gift. I will not waste it on distraction. What matters most today is not what I achieve, but how I carry myself. I am not here to please everyone. I am here to live in truth. Obstacles are opportunities to practice patience, courage, and wisdom. My peace is not for sale. My mind is my own. Every challenge today is a chance to grow stronger. You don't need 100 affirmations. You don't need a long list of positive statements. You just need one truth that you live by. One principle that anchors you when everything else is chaotic. One sentence that brings you back to yourself. Repeat it out loud. Write it down. Make it your compass. Because if you wake up anxious, scattered, or lost, it's usually because your mind hasn't been told where to go. It's wandering. It's grasping for something to hold on to. It's searching for meaning in the noise. But if you start with clarity, that clarity becomes momentum. You walk into every task with purpose. You respond to every challenge with alignment. You become calm under pressure because your mind isn't guessing. It's anchored. It knows what matters. Try this tomorrow morning. After you wake up and sit in silence, repeat your chosen Stoic truth 5 to 10 times. Say it with power. Let it echo inside you. Don't just say the words, feel them. Become them. Let them sink into your bones. Over time, this becomes your mental armor. This becomes the thing you return to when life tries to shake you. When the world gets loud, when doubt creeps in, when fear rises, you have your anchor. And on the days when everything goes wrong, when people disappoint you, when plans fall apart, when you feel like giving up, that one reminder will pull you back into strength. It will remind you of who you really are beneath the chaos. It will be your lifeline. If you don't remind yourself who you are every day, the world will confuse you. It will fill your head with its priorities, its expectations, its judgments. You'll lose yourself in the noise. You'll become a stranger to your own values. Don't let that happen. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I anchor my mind in truth. Number 5, master the mind before the world enters. Your mind is most influenceable in the first hour after waking. It's like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in that hour will grow throughout the day. The thoughts you think, the feelings you feel, the intentions you set, they all take root and shape everything that follows. So here's the question you must ask yourself. Who gets access to your mind first? What gets planted in that sacred soil? For most people, it's strangers on the internet, news they can't control, conversations that don't matter, opinions that leave them feeling small, angry, or inadequate. They wake up and immediately hand over the keys to their consciousness to anyone who screams loud enough. They let algorithms decide what they'll think about. They let headlines determine how they'll feel. But the Stoic does something different. They master their own mind before letting the world in. They cultivate their own garden before allowing any external seeds to be planted. Seneca said, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." Think about that profound statement. Your unhappiness isn't usually caused by what happens to you. It's caused by what you tell yourself about what happens to you. It's caused by the stories you believe, the thoughts you entertain, the narratives you accept as truth. Your mind is the filter through which all experience passes, and that filter can be cleansed or corrupted. So instead of letting the world shape their inner world, the wise shape their own mind first. They take time each morning for what I call inner mastery. They become the sculptor rather than the clay. This is where Stoic reflection or journaling becomes one of the most powerful tools in the 1% morning routine. Here's how it works. Right after your silence and your morning anchor, you take 5 to 10 minutes to write out your thoughts. Not for anyone else, not for social media, not to impress anyone, just for you, just for the clarity of seeing your own mind on paper. You ask yourself honest questions. What am I feeling right now? What emotions are present as I start this day? What do I need to let go of from yesterday? What resentments, worries, or regrets am I carrying that don't serve me? What can I be grateful for this morning? What's going well in my life right now? What virtue will I practice today? Patience, courage, discipline, kindness, humility. What's one thing I can do today to move closer to who I want to become? You don't need to write a book, just a few lines of truth, a few sentences that bring your inner world into focus, a few words that cut through the noise and reveal what's really there. This practice does something profound. It builds a private space of self-awareness, a place where your thoughts meet honesty, where you can see clearly what's really going on inside you without judgment, without talby, without distraction. It's a way of reminding yourself, I have power over how I think. I don't have to carry yesterday into today. I don't have to match the energy of the world. I can bring my own. I can choose my own mental state. After just a few days of this practice, you'll notice something shift. Your mind becomes sharper. You start catching your own triggers before they control you. You notice when anxiety is creeping in. You observe when old patterns are trying to resurface. You see when fear is whispering in your ear, and because you notice them, you can choose differently. You can intervene. You react less emotionally to things that used to set you off. You respond with more wisdom and less impulse. You make better decisions because you're clearer about what matters. You're less likely to be swept away by the current of the day. This is how the Stoics built mental muscle, not by ignoring their emotions, by examining them, by understanding them, by tracing them back to their sources, by replacing unhelpful thoughts with wiser ones. Epictetus taught that we should question every impression before accepting it. Don't just believe every thought that appears. Examine it, test it, see if it's really true. See if it serves you, See if it aligns with your values. Journaling is how you do that. It's how you slow down the racing mind long enough to see what's really there. It's how you create space between stimulus and response. And this is exactly why the 1% don't just wake up early. They use the morning to do the real work, the inner work, mastering their mind before the world enters. Because if you don't command your mind, the world will use it against you. It will fill it with fears that aren't yours. It will load it with worries that don't serve you. It will program it with beliefs that keep you small. It will turn you into a puppet pulled by every string. You were not born to be a slave to moods, triggers, or impulses. You were not born to be a leaf blown by every wind. You were born to lead your mind like a king leads his kingdom, with clarity, with patience, with discipline, with authority. Use the first moments of the day to claim your crown. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I lead my mind before the world can. Number 6, move the body to activate the mind. A Stoic knows something that most people never realize. The body and the mind are not separate. They're not even two things connected by a bridge. They're one system, a unified field, a single integrated whole. If the body is lazy, the mind will follow. If the body is stagnant, the mind will stagnate. If the body is weak, the mind will struggle to be strong. The state of your physical vessel directly impacts the state of your consciousness. But if the body is alert and moving, the mind rises with it. Energy flows, focus sharpens, mood lifts, the fog clears. This is why the mentally sharpest people never start their day without moving their body. Not because they want perfect abs or to impress anyone at the gym, not for vanity or validation. Because movement is the first act of self-respect. It's the first declaration that you are not here to be comfortable. You are here to be alive. You are here to engage. Marcus Aurelius asked himself a powerful question in his meditations. Is this what you were made for? To huddle under the blankets and keep warm? This wasn't self-judgment. It wasn't harshness. It was a call to action, a reminder that your body was made to move, to face the day, to work, to exert, to engage with life, not hide from it. A reminder that comfort is not the purpose of existence. Here's the truth that will change how you see morning movement. You don't need a 2-hour workout to become elite. You don't need a complicated fitness routine or expensive equipment. You need momentum. You need motion. You need to signal to your brain, we are not here to remain comfortable. We are here to lead. We are here to act. Why is movement so powerful in the morning? Because it shifts your state instantly. Blood flows to your brain, your heart activates, your energy rises, your self-image sharpens, the fog of sleep disappears, and the weak part of you that wanted to stay in bed starts to die. With every movement, you're killing the version of yourself that prefers comfort over growth. The Stoics valued physical exertion not as an end in itself, but as training for the will. Epictetus taught that discipline over the body trains discipline over the soul. When you learn to push your body when it doesn't want to be pushed, you learn to push your mind when it doesn't want to think. When you learn to endure physical discomfort, you learn to endure emotional discomfort. When you learn to move when you want to be still, you learn to act when you want to procrastinate. Your first steps in the morning, your push-ups, your stretches, your cold shower, these aren't about fitness. They're about command. They're about showing yourself, I do hard things, even when I don't feel like it, especially when I don't feel like it. My comfort does not dictate my actions. That's leadership. That's self-mastery. And most people, they never train their will. They train comfort. They train softness. They train the habit of giving in. Every time they choose the easy option, they weaken their will. Every time they avoid discomfort, they strengthen the voice that says, you can't. And then they wonder why their lives feel weak, why they can't stick to goals, why they fold under pressure. The will is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use and it atrophies with neglect. Every morning is an opportunity to exercise it. Every morning, when you choose to move instead of staying still, you're strengthening that muscle. You're building the capacity to do hard things, and that capacity transfers to every area of your life. It shows up in your work, your relationships, your habits, your dreams. Here's your challenge. Each morning, move your body for just 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be impressive. Stretch, do push-ups, jumping jacks. Go for a walk in silence. Splash cold water on your face. Take a cold shower if you're brave enough. The form doesn't matter as much as the consistency. What matters is that you do it deliberately, that you choose movement over stagnation, that you prove to yourself once again that you're in control, that you're not a slave to comfort, because your body is not a side note in this journey of self-mastery. It is the vehicle. It is the instrument through which you experience everything. If you neglect it, everything else suffers. Your thinking suffers, your emotions suffer, your energy suffers. But when you train it every morning, something shifts. You walk into the world feeling untouchable because you've already conquered something before breakfast. You've already won a battle that most people lose every single day. You've already proven to yourself that you have what it takes. That feeling carries. It compounds. Over weeks and months, you become someone who simply does what needs to be done. No drama, no negotiation, no internal debate, no procrastination. That's power. Real power. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I move with discipline. I conquer my day. Number 7, rehearse the person you want to be. The final secret of the 1% isn't about what they do. It's about who they become. It's about identity. Every morning, before they step into the world, they take a few moments to mentally rehearse the person they want to be that day. They don't leave their character to chance. They don't hope they'll show up well. They don't trust that everything will work out. They intentionally design their performance. They consciously choose their role. This isn't about acting fake or pretending to be someone you're not. This is about becoming intentional. This is about aligning your actions with your values before the chaos of the day pulls you in 100 directions. This is about programming your mind for the person you're committed to becoming. The Stoics called this living according to nature, living in full alignment with your reason, your values, your highest self. Not drifting through life on autopilot, not reacting to whatever happens, but consciously choosing how you want to show up, moment by moment, day by day. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Wasting time doesn't just mean watching videos or scrolling endlessly. It means living without intention. It means being reactive instead of reflective. It means being pulled by life instead of leading it. It means letting circumstances determine your character instead of the other way around. So here's what the 1% do in the morning before the day begins. They ask themselves powerful questions. How would the best version of me act today? If someone filmed me all day, would I be proud of how I moved, how I spoke, how I handled challenges? Would I be proud of the person I was? Where do I need to grow stronger today? What virtue do I need to practice? Patience, courage, honesty, kindness. How can I face today's challenges with wisdom instead of reactivity? What kind of energy do I want to bring into my interactions? This is mental rehearsal. You're not predicting every specific moment. You're training your identity. You're programming your mind to respond a certain way before the triggers even appear. You're becoming the architect of your own character. Try this. Visualize yourself walking into work or school with calm energy. See yourself staying composed when someone provokes you. Picture yourself choosing patience when normally you'd snap. Imagine yourself speaking with clarity and confidence in that meeting or conversation. See yourself handling rejection with grace. See yourself extending kindness when it's not returned. This isn't wishful thinking. This is neuroscience. When you visualize yourself acting a certain way, you activate the same neural pathways as actually doing it. You're literally rehearsing for real life. You're building mental maps that will guide your behavior when the moment comes. And when the actual moment arrives, your brain has a template. It knows what to do. You've already practiced your lines. You've already walked through the scene. You're not figuring it out in real time. You're executing a plan. Here's why this matters more than you might realize. Most people fall into whatever energy is around them. They absorb the mood of the room. They match the chaos of their environment. They react to whatever comes at them. They're like chameleons, changing with every background, never knowing their true color. But the Stoic creates the energy. They walk into chaos and remain still. They meet aggression with strength. They meet fear with courage. They meet uncertainty with clarity. They bring their own weather. They don't fake this. They don't just hope it happens. They train it. Every single morning, they become so familiar with their ideal self that it becomes their default. Over time, this practice does something profound. Your identity becomes carved into stone. You become that person who shows up strong. You become that person who doesn't panic. You become that person who speaks with truth and moves with purpose. You don't just have good mornings. You build a great life. People give away the morning like it's nothing. They treat it as just another part of the day, something to get through on the way to more important things. They sleep through it. They scroll through it. They waste it. But the wise know the truth. The morning is everything. The way you wake up shapes your mindset, your mood, your momentum, and your meaning. If you don't own your morning, someone else will. If you don't command your thoughts early, chaos will take their place. If you don't discipline yourself before the sun rises, life will do it for you. And it won't be kind. The Stoics weren't just philosophers. They were warriors of the mind. They didn't waste time. They didn't waste mornings. They lived with intentional repetition, reminding themselves daily of what mattered, of who they wanted to be, of how to carry themselves no matter what life brought. That's the path. That's the way of the 1%. So here's where we stand. 7 secrets. 7 principles that separate those who merely exist from those who truly live. 7 practices that transform mornings from chaotic scrambles into sacred foundations. Let's recap them one more time so they sink deep into your mind. Number 1, wake up with discipline, not motivation. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't debate. Don't wait to feel like it. Just get up. Your first victory of the day is the most important one. Number 2, win the first hour in silence. Protect your mind from the noise before it's ready. Let your own thoughts surface before the world's thoughts invade. Cultivate inner stillness. Number 3, face the day before it starts. Mentally rehearse challenges so they don't catch you off guard. Prepare your responses in advance. Build emotional immunity. Number 4, anchor yourself with a Stoic morning reminder. Return to one truth that centers you. Have a touchstone that brings you back to yourself when everything else is uncertain. Number 5, master the mind before the world enters. Journal, reflect, examine your thoughts, create space for self-awareness. Know what's happening inside you. Number 6, move the body to activate the mind. Signal to yourself that you're here to lead. Use physical discipline to train mental discipline. Number 7, rehearse the person you want to be. Visualize how you'll show up today. Become the architect of your own character. These aren't tricks. They're not hacks. They're not quick fixes. They're tools of transformation. They've worked for thousands of years. They've been tested by emperors and slaves, by warriors and philosophers. They'll work for you. But here's the catch. Knowing them isn't enough. Reading about them isn't enough. Watching this video isn't enough. Intention without action is just self-deception. You have to practice them. You have to apply them. You have to build them into your daily life. You have to make them habits, not just ideas. Don't try to do everything at once. That's a recipe for burnout and discouragement. Start small. Pick one of these 7 and focus on it for a week. Just one. Master it. Make it automatic. Make it non-negotiable. Then add another. But start today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not next month, not when life gets easier. Today, right now, your next morning is an opportunity. Don't waste it. Even one small change to your morning can change the trajectory of your entire life. Because your morning sets the tone for everything else. It's the foundation, and when the foundation is strong, the whole structure stands firm. When the first hour is yours, the rest of the day follows. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be awake, truly awake, to your values, to your actions, to your mission, to who you're becoming. Let this be the last day you wake up like the rest. Let this be the first day you wake up like the 1%. Like this video if it resonated with you. Comment your favorite secret below and share which one you'll start with. Share it with someone who needs this message. Someone who's been sleepwalking through their mornings and their life. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications. More Stoic wisdom is coming. More tools for transformation. More reminders of who you can become. One final time, drop this affirmation in the comments to seal it in your mind, to make it real. I wake up like the 1%. I lead my life with Stoic power. Your morning is your kingdom. Go claim it. Go own it. Go live it. The day is yours.